I liked that the first step the professor gave us was to assess the assignment. It's easy to just dive into an assignment under the pressure of due dates without paying close attention to the type of paper being required. Since my undergraduate degree was in computer science at a university where courses were taken only when directly related to one's major, I don't have a lot of experience in formal writing in a university setting. In the course of my 4 years honors degree, I was only required to write 2 one-page papers. I had to look up the technical definition of explication the first time the professor mentioned it. As I'm beginning to understand it, I realize that I often write or study in this way, but I feel a bit lost in the woods when talking about descriptions and details of styles of writing. I totally relate to what one of my classmates wrote. The vast majority of my writing these days is in preparing sermons and other teachings. When writing a book review, I had not considered connecting a particular work with other scholars' works, whether in agreement, reaction, or deviation. In my own usage of book reviews, I have tended to only look for these kinds of connections when seeking the best English translation of a particular work. The professor's reminder that a book review is a combination of summary and evaluation is very helpful. I am hopeful that I will be able to keep this in mind as I write new kinds of book reviews beyond Goodreads. I'm going to have to go back to the notes on how to write a book review when those are required. To be honest, I am not convinced that it is any harder to come up with an original idea now than in any other time in history. I think this has been, and will continue to be, a challenge for every generation. In my limited experience and understanding, in pretty much any field of study, every question investigated tends to lead to even more questions. I appreciated the professor's description of what a thesis is and is not, especially in understanding that it will almost certainly not be the first thing written, but rather will develop in a detailed and nuanced way as questions are asked and research is undertaken. I had wondered about this because some of my immediate family members spent years doing PhD research in scientific fields in which they did not begin to write their theses until after multiple years of intense research. I'm still learning about citations, something that currently seems stressful to me. One thing I'm nervous about forgetting to do is providing citations even when paraphrasing. I can see that the most important thing is to be almost obsessive about taking notes on every source. The professor's instructions on conclusions reminds me of the various ways in which someone might give a testimony in a Christian setting. There's a world of difference in how listeners engage with stories in which everything seems neatly tied up with a bow, and ones in which it becomes apparent that the story is not finished yet, and that God is with us in the middle of our suffering and ongoing struggles. The professor's overview of the various kinds of writing helped me to get a clearer picture of what this degree at this seminary may entail. As a result of this seminar, I am more interested in learning and engaging more with critical analysis papers, as I would like to develop my skills in conducting sound research that might contribute to preparing myself and others to be ready to engage in redemptive relationships and conversations with thinkers and seekers.